This is Retirement, a life-changing event presented by Colonial Pension Services Limited. And now your host for this evening's program, Dr. Connie Frith-Black.
Good evening and welcome to our program. This is the first of a two-part series presented by Colonial Pension Services Limited. I'm Dr. Connie Frith-Black, and we will introduce our panel in just a moment for tonight's discussion, but first some vital information. I'm out of the starting. Okay. We are talking about pensions. Retirement, just like marriage or divorce, is a life-changing event, as it involves an ongoing process of emotional adjustment. Retirees must face what is essentially the last transition in their lives. That is when our careers are over and the work is done. Retirees have the rest of their lives to themselves. So, what can we do to prepare for this important life transition? We are here tonight to discuss retirement realities with the Bermuda public. And I'd like to introduce our panel for this evening from Colonial Pensions Services Limited. To my left, we have Mrs. Laurie Daniels, Customer Services Manager. Next to Mrs. Daniels, we have Mary Jo Caesar, Chief Operating Officer for Colonial Pensions. And next to Mrs. Caesar, we have Mr. Jonathan Robinson, Sales Manager. Welcome, panel.
Thank you, Connie.
We are going to discuss this evening retirement, a life-changing event. And just wanted to ask you, Mary Jo, direct this question to you. Why did the Bermuda government enact a national pension scheme?
Good evening, Bermuda. To answer the question, Connie, I will have to refer to a document entitled a Green Paper, a National Pension Scheme for Bermuda, which was presented to the House of Assembly on 30 June 1995. And I will attempt to summarize it. In the 1990s, it was anticipated that the Bermuda Public Pension Fund, known as a contributory pension fund, which was implemented in 1968-1970, would soon be inadequate to fund future pension obligations, primarily for the following reasons. The number of seniors, a person over the age of 65, would more than double over the next 40 to 50 years. The reality is that in 2010, 276 persons turned 65. In 2011, 700 persons turned 65, the first batch of the post-war baby boomers. As a result, the percentage of elderly people in Bermuda stood at 11% last year, compared with only 8% in the 80s, and a projected increase to 22% by year 2030. Secondly, while the number of retirees is increasing, the birth rate is decreasing. Simply put, people are living longer and having fewer children. As a result, less people are entering the workforce, fewer people are contributing to the contributory pension fund, and more people are retiring and living longer. Therefore, in 1998, the government of the day saw fit to enact the National Pension Scheme Occupational Pension Act.
Laurie?
Thank you, Connie. To add to what Mary Jo has said, as the baby boomers, and we're talking about those persons born between 1946 and 1964.
So you're talking about me?
Yes, we're talking about you, Connie. As the baby boomers continue to reach retirement age, we're having more and more retirees supported by fewer workers. It's interesting to note that the total population in Bermuda increased by 56% between 1950 and 1991, while at the same time, the population of those 65 years and older increased by 153% in that same time period. That is more than 2.5 times the average population growth. Needless to say, the increase in seniors will place a major strain on Bermuda's contributory pension system.
No, Connie, the contributory pension fund is a mandatory scheme administered by the Social Insurance Department in the Ministry of Finance. It requires employers and employees to contribute a total of $64.12 weekly to the fund. Now, when you examine the payment structure for the contributory pension plan, which is the social insurance, the inadequacies are glaring. For instance, the maximum benefit is $1,385 per month. This demonstrates the need for the national pension plan, which is the occupation plan, to be implemented, whereby the employer pays 5% and the employee contributes 5%. I would like to add something kind of regarding the contributory pension fund. It's approximately 47% of our seniors that receive the maximum benefit, which is $1,385 per month, which means more than half, 53%, are receiving less than $1,385 per month. When you look at these numbers, it's staggering.
Okay. Laurie, would you like to add to that?
Yes, Connie. For the benefit of our listeners, I'd like to outline the differences between the contributory pension and the occupational pension, as many people do confuse the two. Both are mandatory, both are contributory, meaning the employer and the employee both must contribute. The contributory pension, however, is administered by government. It's a government scheme. The Department of Social Insurance under the Ministry of Finance is the administrator. For the occupational pension, it's administered by a pension provider such as Colonial. Both of these could provide you with a income at normal retirement age, which is 65.
So what you're saying, Laurie, is Colonial Pension Services Limited is a private provider?
Yes.
Okay.
The occupational pension is commonly known as the private pension.
Okay.
And once you reach 65 in the private pension, once you reach 65, you do not automatically get your retirement benefits. You must actually retire. Whereas with the social insurance, you can get your retirement benefits at age 65. And we also want to ensure that people don't confuse either with the government superannuation pension.
Okay, so now Jonathan, tell me, how does knowing all of this help us to prepare for retirement? What do we need to know?
Well, Connie, when we retire, our income has to come from somewhere, for we will no longer receive a paycheck. So we should view retirement planning as a three-legged stool. One leg should be the contributory pension plan. The other leg will be the national pension scheme. And the third will consist of your savings and investments, and that would bridge the gap between the two pension schemes.
So, Laurie, what is the purpose of the national pension scheme, and what should one know about it? What do you need to tell the public about this scheme?
Well, the National Pension Scheme is a pension plan, and it's designed to help workers set aside a portion of their income to fund their retirement and replace the income they'll no longer receive when they stop working and are retired. And there are a number of things we should know about the occupational pension. The first thing is the eligibility. Who is eligible to be in the pension plan? In order to be in the occupational pension, you must be employed. You must be 23 years or older and have worked 720 hours or be expected to work 720 hours in a calendar year. In addition to that, we have who should contribute. Every employee, and according to the Pension Act, an employee means a Bermudian or the husband or wife of a Bermudian who is employed in Bermuda by an employer. Every employee, as well as every self-employed person, should be eligible to be in the pension plan. Jonathan has mentioned the contribution levels, that 5% comes from the employee and matching 5% from the employer. And it's the duty of the employer, Connie, to withhold the pension contributions from the employee and pay them to the pension provider within 30 days following the month in which they were withheld. And the administrator of the pension plan must give written notice to the employer as well as to the pension commission if any contributions are not paid when they are due.
Okay. So what are some of the questions that we should ask of our pension providers? I'm sure that, people listening for the first time perhaps don't fully understand the difference between a private pension provider and a government scheme. What are some of the questions that they should be asking?
Well, as pension assets are invested, one question that members should ask their pension provider is about the fund performance. How are their funds doing? How are they invested? And they should know those details.
Okay.
They also should ask about the fees that are related to the administration of the plan. And finally, what members should ask is about the retirement options. What are the options when that member reaches retirement age? What are they allowed to do?
So the same way that you would review your bank statement, you're encouraging the public to review their pension statement.
Yes, Connie. And a pension statement is sent by law to each member at least once annually. And as well as that, members can look at their pension online. So we think that members should take an active role in their retirement planning, look at their statement, just as you said, they would look at their bank statement and ensure that they're on track for retirement.
Okay, so now Jonathan, back to you. Who oversees the pension plans? Who regulates the private pension providers?
Well, this will fall under the auspices of the Pensions Commissioner. And the Pensions Commission came about as a result of the Occupational Pensions Act 1998. And it's a governing body whose main duties are to administer an act and its regulations, ensures that pension plans are compliant with the act by enforcing its provisions, monitor the administration and funding of pension plans, investigate complaints relating to pension plans and pension funds.
Can I ask at this time what happens with delinquent employers?
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Okay.
I have to take it because unfortunately we do have a lot of delinquent employers. So I will take this opportunity to tell Bermuda at large, please check your pension statement. Make sure that your contributions are put in. So what happened from an administrative standpoint, where Colonial stands, we are duty bound by the Act to report any delinquent employer, which we have to do on a monthly basis. So we do that. However, it is, as Jonathan mentioned, the duty of the Pension Commission to contact those employers and ask them to make them, hold them whole at the end of the day.
So once a person is actively engaged in reviewing their statements, they then have the opportunity to see whether their employer is following up.
Well, I mean, in today's age, I mean, people are on Facebook 55 times a day. It's internet banking. We do everything online,
Yes.
and we do have all our members have access to their pension account online as well. And at the end of each month, they should be able to go in, check, and make sure that their contributions have been paid to their account. I mean, let us remember they are putting aside income for when they no longer work.
Okay, so as a pension provider, what are your thoughts on people being allowed to withdraw from their pension plans or stop contributing for 1 year, as has recently been suggested, Mary Jo?
Oh, well, that's a hot one. Is it wise, what you tell me, is it wise to take a holiday from contributing to your pension plan? No. No, categorically no. If you want to achieve an adequate retirement income, no. I would urge everybody who even thought about it to forget it. Okay, continue and contribute because you will need that money when you retire.
So that will be a whole year that you will be missing out of retirement.
Yeah, I mean,